Hello, ThreadTalk listeners.
Whoa.
I'm Teresa, the ghost of today's podcast.
That's good. Wait, and I am Denver, Count Dracula.
This is the best episode of the year.
Teresa's favorite.
My favorite.
Episode.
I think a lot of other people's favorites as well. I am ready to get spooked.
Spooky.
If you're watching on YouTube, what do you think of our setup?
Teresa put a lot of work into the podcast studio, so make sure you give her some encouragement in the comments. Good job, Teresa.
Thanks, honey. It was strictly Dollarama. Strictly Dollarama finds, but it came together.
Oh, yeah, it did. If you guys are new to ThreadTalk podcast, we do this every year. This is an second annual spooky episode for us.
Second one.
Teresa absolutely loves October, loves spooky season. So we scavenged Reddit again, looking for more ghost tales, paranormal tales, or just spookiness.
Last year, I remember we got spooked.
Last year was creepy. I don't know if we could top last year's episode.
I don't know.
But we're gonna try.
We will. I have some really good ones. I was getting really scared reading mine just by myself.
Ooh. If you guys are new, I'm Denver. Like it's been said, my beautiful wife, Teresa. We bring you this podcast on the road, currently coming to you live from Canmore, Alberta, because we live in an RV. Podcast is in an RV, and we're traveling. I usually have 7 stories. Teresa usually has about 7 stories. We try to get through them over the next 2 hours. We're blind reacting to each other's story. I'll read a story. Teresa reads a story, and we're gonna get scared. It's just gonna happen. We're gonna get the chills. The goosebumps are gonna be going on my arm. I'm gonna want to stop the episode after the first story, but I have to endure. And with that, let's begin.
That was good.
I will go first.
Oh, you're going? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I don't want to hear your stories, but I do.
My nurse was a ghost. In 2020, at the beginning of COVID, I had just given birth. At this time, I could only have one other person in the room with me my entire stay at the hospital. Of course, my kid's father was there, but like the 3rd day, he left to clean up our house and get everything prepared for me and the baby. I had gotten sick and had a C-section, so I had to stay for about 4 to 5 days. Well, while he was away, a nurse named Kelly said that she would be helping me throughout the day and spending time with me so that I don't feel lonely while Dad is gone. I couldn't really hold my baby due to me being sick and the pain from the C-section, so the nurses would come in every time it was time to feed. I noticed that when they come in, they wouldn't acknowledge Kelly, and she would go to the farthest part of the room and she would just tell me, "I'm just gonna get out of the way." Now, she did tell me that she didn't specialize in what they did, she was just for comfort, so I didn't question anything. The entire day, she was so helpful and encouraging to me. I really believe I would have broken down if she wasn't in there with me. She was such a sweetheart. Well, after about 5 to 6 hours, she told me she had to leave and that she would come visit me before her shift was over to see how I was doing. She hugged me and blew a kiss at my baby and walked out of the room. Later that night, Dad came back and he was very upset. He had told me some stuff happened with his mom and that he was sorry he took so long. I was upset, but I told him a nurse named Kelly kept me company. As I'm telling him about her, my nurse is changing my sheets and she's like, "Who is Kelly?" I explained and she said that nobody named Kelly was in my room or working that day. So I instantly thought about those women who would pretend to be nurses and kidnap children.
Oh.
But my nurse told me that I may be hallucinating, and she told the doctor. I talked to my doctor, and he said the same thing. Well, a couple of hours later, a nurse that I didn't recognize came into the room and said, "I know this might sound crazy, but everyone on the floor is talking about you seeing Kelly." I said, "Yeah, she was here with me for like 7 hours today. She helped out a lot." We're smiling and laughing while I was telling her about Kelly and how sweet and funny she was. Then she pulled up her phone and showed me a picture of her and Kelly that looked like it was maybe the early 2000s. I was smiling, knowing that I wasn't hallucinating. Then she sat down and told me that Kelly died over 10 years ago from domestic violence with her boyfriend. I wasn't too shocked because my entire life I've been dealing with the paranormal, but I got chills because I had never had an encounter this deep. Well, the lady gave me a hug and started crying, saying, "Now I know that she is okay." Since that day, I've been wondering, why did Kelly come in my room and help me? I kind of wish I could see her again.
The goosies are back. The goosies are back. This one was kind of like a happy ending. Like,
Yeah.
her friend finds comfort knowing that she's like still around doing what she probably loved in life.
Right? Yeah.
Bringing people joy and comfort. Wow.
Yep.
She was there all day just to like comfort her.
Right?
Oh my God. Stop. I'm actually going to cry. That's so sweet. I think she probably did go to OP because she said that she did have like a lot of experience with paranormal. And I think that there are people who are gifted and like they can see.
Think the ghost can see that? Sense that?
Yeah,
Find that out?
I do think so. I think like they kind of know who is gifted and who isn't. I don't know. If you don't believe that, that might sound dumb, but I do believe that
We're not alone.
I don't think so at all. I 100% believe in ghosts. But I'm glad that at least somebody was there
Yep.
to keep her company, even if
Right?
that person wasn't living
Yeah.
on this earth.
Talk Comment says, "That is such a special experience. My nanny, maternal grandmother, passed away when I was about 7 months pregnant. When I was in labor, my blood pressure dropped suddenly. Nurses started rushing around. The machine was beeping loudly. I could hear my husband panicking and asking what was happening, and them telling him he needed to step aside. I felt like I was about to lose consciousness when I heard her voice in my ear, 'It's gonna be all right, darling.' The beep stopped, my heart rate returned to normal, and everything was fine. It happened so fast, but it was like my own private little bubble with her one more time."
Oh, that's also nice and uplifting. Well, we're starting off not spooky. I mean, it started off spooky actually, but then it ended kind of happy.
Another person replies to that and says, "My grandpa did the same thing when I got into a car accident. He told me, 'Let go of the wheel.' And I did, and it saved my life. I was a new driver, so I started to swerve. If I wouldn't have swerved anymore, I would have been hit directly by another car, and who knows what would have happened."
Jesus.
OP replies and says, "Your nanny definitely had your back. I love it."
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
Over to you.
My first story is not going to be as sweet. It's going to be really jarring, actually. Buckle up. No, actually, if you're scared, this is probably going to be the worst one.
This is what you guys signed up for, right? You clicked on this
beware.
episode.
Beware. Okay. Me and a friend found this creepy statue while hiking, and now strange things are going on. Anyone know what this is? Last weekend, my friend and I went hiking in the Catskills, near Sundown Forest, FWIW, and found this really creepy statue while fucking around in some caves. It had nails in its eyes and a noose around its neck. Looks like it might be old. I don't think it's been there very long, but it's weird because this cave was way off the trail. Someone had a fire in there not too long ago. Here's the pics.
Holy shit, there's pictures. If you're on YouTube, you're seeing them.
It's creepy as hell.
The fuck? Voodoo doll. How can I describe this? It's about a foot tall.
It's small.
It's small, carved out of wood. There's 3 nails pushed into each eye socket that's carved out. And there's a miniature rope that's tied with like a noose. How you would tie a noose for like hanging people, and then it's around its neck. Well, it's just the way that the knots go. You know, it's like 5 rolls. You know, the rope. It's that classic noose look, and yeah, the string is just like a short string that's hanging down from its neck. Oh my god!
The last picture looks like it's laying down, like they touched it.
Yeah.
To take a different picture.
Jesus.
All right. The statue really wigged me out, but my buddy decided to take it home with him, even though I told him not to. Everyone says that there's devil worshippers that come out here to sacrifice animals and do their spells and shit, so I didn't want anything to do with this thing.
What? I'm out, bro. You're not getting in the car with me with that thing. No.
A couple days later, my friend calls me and tells me that he thinks the statue is haunted because it keeps moving from its spot and he keeps smelling weird stuff. Says he can't sleep at night because banging keeps waking him up. Now last night someone knocked on his door, but no one was there when he opened it, and he's super weirded out. He thinks he has a ghost because of the statue. It must just be a coincidence, but I think he's actually scared. Before we go set this thing on fire, I want to see if anyone knows what it is. Anyone ever seen something like this or heard of a statue causing ghosts?
I'm sorry? Before we go set this thing on fire,
Have you watched any movie ever?
Are you dumb? Go put it back where you got it from.
Have you not watched any paranormal movie ever?
You're gonna untether the freaking scary ghosts that are attached to it if you burn it, and then they're gonna be stuck with you.
Top comment says, all caps, don't burn it. If there is something attached to it, all you're going to do is set it loose to attach to something else. You know, like you or your friend. You might have luck cross-posting it over to r/occult and seeing if they can identify it. If you start to truly think you're being haunted, DM me and I'll try to point you towards someone who can help. Also, this shit is creepy, dude. OP said, PMing you, I told my friend not to burn it. We were just talking about throwing it in the river like the one dude suggested. Would that work?
Bro, return it where you got it from.
Another comment says, please return it and offer a tribute. Like the other posts have said, tobacco and alcohol will be fine. The worst thing you can do is just toss it away without making some sort of amends. Either ask it or sternly command it to remain with the statue and then place the offering and leave. That's such a creepy sentence. Ask it nicely but sternly to stay within the statue. And don't come for me. So there's an edit. My friend showed up.
Hold on. Someone does say, you don't suggest someone who knows nothing to sternly command anything or anyone to do anything as their first experience. That is incredibly fucking irresponsible.
So what are they supposed to do?
I don't know. You might command it to do the wrong thing.
Instructions are unclear. I'm now haunted.
Yes.
Okay, the edit. My friend showed up here at like 11:30.
No, dude, don't fucking come to my house. You stay at your place. You go put it back. I'm done with you. Don't fucking come near me.
Your dumbass did this to yourself.
You're done.
Goodbye.
Do not come near me.
He's out of his mind scared. Never seen him like this before. I'm going to do my best to remember everything he just told me because it was a lot. But long story short, he's sleeping over because something is in his house. We found the statue on Sunday, and like I said, I told him not to take it because it gave me bad vibes, but he took it anyway. He's been an atheist as long as I've known him, so when he told me that something was going on, I thought he was just fucking with me because he knows I like to watch paranormal shows. He always made fun of me for it. It started out just as knocks and bangings, but he said that by Wednesday, he started waking up in the middle of the night feeling like someone was watching. This kept happening through the week, and every time he'd wake up, he would smell a really strong scent like pond water. He doesn't believe any of this stuff, so he just ignored it until a few days ago when the statue moved from his desk into his living room. He says that every night since Thursday, it's moved into a different room than where he left it. He thought it was his dog moving it around because it smelled funny, but his dog won't go anywhere near it. He says that she's actually peed in the house 3 nights in a row, and she's never done that. Last night, someone knocked on his door at 3 in the morning, but when he went to open it, there was no one there. His motion lights weren't on, and there weren't actually any cars on his driveway. He said that he opened up the door to look outside, and that's when he knew he made a big mistake, like he just felt like he shouldn't have opened his door. That's why I made this post in the first place. At that point, I didn't have any reason not to believe him because it had gone way beyond a joke, and he actually sounded really, really fucking scared on the phone. He kept telling me that he was going to burn the statue because he knows that something followed him home. Anyway, he stayed up all night and then decided to go to the movies to take his mind off of it. When he got home, he said it felt like everything was fine and he decided to finally go to bed. This is where it gets super fucked up. He says when he woke up, which wasn't until like 10, it was because his dog was barking like crazy. He said the pond water smell was stronger than ever, and when he went out into his hallway, he saw all of these muddy footprints everywhere. Not like shoe prints, but barefoot. All of his doors and windows were locked. After someone knocked on his door, he freaked out and made sure everything was locked. So there's no fucking way anyone could have gotten inside. Sitting in the living room was a fucking statue which had moved again, and he says that when he started to go near it, he heard someone breathing, quote, like his grandpa with a tracheotomy. He pieced the fuck out, and now he and his dog are sleeping in my guest room tonight. I've never seen him this scared, and he even started crying. I have no fucking idea what to do. I believe him because he has no reason to lie to me about this because it's way too far to be a joke now. I know that everyone says not to burn it or whatever, so what the fuck do we do? He wants me to go to his house to get the statue tomorrow, but I'm too fucking freaked out to take it back to where we found it because I don't want to see whoever put it there.
Okay, my goosebumps, my arms are chilled. All right. Game plan. Do you own the place? Do you rent? You call the landlord and you say, thank you very much. You can have everything inside my apartment. I'm never stepping foot inside there again. Terminate the lease. If you own it, then hire a realtor and have them hire a moving company and have them get all of your stuff out besides the doll or the whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's all tainted. I'll buy all new clothes. Just I want nothing. I'm moving out. I'm moving on.
Okay, so there's a quick edit that says, sorry I haven't posted. Things got worse yesterday night, so we sent the statue to the guy in the comments today. So far, so good. Thanks to everyone who actually tried to help and didn't just call us a couple of fucking idiots.
I hope everybody learns a lesson here and doesn't take anything. This creepy, mind you. We were going for a walk on the river the other day and I grabbed a rock. That's a rock. This creepy as hell. No way I would take anything like this. That's a looking and I'm running away.
So there is a comment that says, hey OP, if you're too nervous to take it back to where you found it, which is completely understandable, I'd be happy to handle it for you. I see someone mention my email in the thread, but if you want to remain anonymous, just PM me and I'll give you an address. Your friend made a mistake, and honestly, it's not like he would know better, especially if he's a skeptic/atheist, or was until he made a new friend. This kind of thing happens all the time and it gets fixed all the time. Don't freak out, don't burn it, and please don't throw it into a lake. A few things. Were there any personal artifacts near the figure? Jewelry, hair, cloth? You mentioned a fire. Did it look like there were any pictures burned in it? Was there a funny smell in the cave? Any markings on the cave wall? Symbols, paintings, graffiti? Any evidence of the devil worshipping you've heard rumors about? Expand on the rumors if you can. Any details help. Does the figure have anything carved into it? Check the base. Does it feel heavier than it should? I promise you and your friend will be fine. It sounds like your friend might have been a bit stubborn in acknowledging that something strange was going on, so whatever is attached to the item had to work hard to get his attention. It's just temporary. When you go back to his house, and you should accompany him since you were present when he took the statue, calmly explain to the figure that you didn't mean it any harm and that you're sorry you disturbed it. Then ask it what it needs. Speak to it like you'd speak to any of your elders. You're going to feel ridiculous, but trust me. One of three things will probably happen. Either you'll just sort of understand what you're supposed to do with the statue, it will start acting out again, or everything will just stop. In the event it just stops, congratulations, you just calmed a restless spirit. If you suddenly know what to do, go do it. Congratulations, you just calmed a restless spirit. If it acts up, PM me, I'll help. That said, if the thing you're suddenly supposed to do is in any way relating to self-harm or the harm of others, or just has a generally negative feeling, wrap it up, put it in a box, and think happy thoughts. As tempting as it might be to just throw it away or destroy it, don't do it. There's people who will handle that for you. I've been collecting these kinds of things for a while now, and they're usually just trying to send a message. I wouldn't be surprised if someone put it in the woods just because they were scared of it too. I know you've gotten some offers to sell it, and while I can't offer you any cash for it, I'd be happy to take it off your hands so that it can be properly studied, documented, and hopefully understood. I can give it a safe place to live and a guarantee that it won't be destroyed. Whatever you decide, you'll be fine. Just be smart, chill out, and think happy thoughts. Feel free to PM me if you have any questions, need a hand, or just want to offload the statue.
Yup. Think happy thoughts. Go to your happy place like Happy Gilmore. Think happy thoughts.
I need to go to my happy place right now. All right, so I'm not done.
Clock me.
So there's a post that comes a year later from the same guy who just made that comment on OP's post. And he has his own post in Paranormal that says, "Remember those hikers who found the cursed statue in the Catskills cave last year? I'm the guy they sent it to. And yeah, it's definitely haunted by something nasty." Hey everyone, you guys might remember that about 6 months ago there was a post in the sub from a hiker who claimed that he and a friend found a strange carving in a New York cave. The whole thread is here, but long story short, they took it home and boom, bad haunting. Poltergeist activity, apportation, and wet footprints manifesting along with strong scent of pond water. A full-blown haunting if he was to be believed. There were lots of great responses in the thread, and after getting a few emails from the friends who know what I do for a living, I logged in and threw my 2 cents into the ring. I'm the director of a paranormal and occult museum based out of Cincinnati, and he ended up sending the item to me. Half a year later, I can say with a good amount of certainty that the carving, which we've nicknamed the crone, is definitely haunted. I don't see things like that lightly, but within hours of the object arriving at my office, I'm fairly certain it pulled Jesus off a crucifix hanging on the wall, was the cause of phantom knocks, wet footprints on my couch, and we even caught it moving with a motion-activated camera. The last straw was when it tried to drop a television on my head. I've been getting a lot of PMs about this for months, so I finally did my best to condense and compile every bit of the information I could about the statue, including every odd photograph, piece of video footage, and personal experience, and put it in a readable piece. I realize that links to outside websites aren't allowed, but short of a massive text post with extensive image, video, and reference links, writing an actual article about the experiences with the item was the most effective way to present the information. At nearly 5,500 words, it's an investment, but I promised an update when he sent the object. Here's 6 months of some of the strangest paranormal activity I've encountered. So there's a link to this.
Doesn't work.
Oh, what the fuck? No fucking way.
So the link doesn't work, but I Googled the name and it's called the Crone of the Catskills. And the AI overview says the Catskills Crone is a story of a haunted wooden statue discovered by hikers in a cave in the Catskill Mountains, New York, and later investigated by paranormal researchers Greg and Dana Newkirk. The statue, characterized by nails in its eyes and a noose around its neck, was associated with poltergeist activity after being removed from its resting place, leading to the documentary series, quote, The Unbinding, which chronicles efforts to understand and resolve the entity's presence. Jesus.
Even
So
the professional is scared.
So there's a documentary about it?
I guess so. We should watch it.
5-year investigation into the crone and the entity with it. And then there's like interviews with them for it. And yeah, there's a documentary called The Unbinding. There's a trailer for it.
I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Back in January of 2016, there was a post to the paranormal subreddit by a user who used a throwaway account to tell the story of how he and one of his friends found a strange effigy in the forest in the Catskill Mountains. They did what you're never supposed to do, and they took the effigy home with them.
A majority of the objects in the museum have been donated, and a lot of them come to us from clients or people that we worked with or people who really want to stay anonymous and they just have something that they want to get rid of and they feel as if there's something attached to them that they're frightened of.
9 times out of 10, the things that people send us don't ever do anything strange for us. But that last 10% is where things get really interesting. And occasionally, there's 1% that changes the way that we think about haunted objects. This turned into a way bigger ordeal than we'd ever anticipated.
I felt like a small kid who was absolutely terrified.
It seemed that the larger picture was coming into view. I mean, we basically promised the Chrome that we were going to take it back. I looked at Dana and I said, we can never do this again. We need to do something about this.
Shut it.
Never did I ever have anything happen like it did with the Chrome.
I felt like I was literally looking at a living nightmare.
We failed.
You have no control over her, and you have no control over us.
Then it became maximum chaos.
Oh my God.
We bind it to the nails,
And we release it.
Bro, this actually looks fire.
That looks absolutely terrifying.
It does, but it looks like a really good movie, actually. I'm
Uh,
scared, though.
if you like that kind of stuff, yeah, I mean, Jesus.
We should watch it.
This is insane.
Oh my gosh. Okay, if anyone has watched it, please let us know in the comments. Is it good? And if you do watch it, please come back here and let us know.
The
Denver might be too scared to
Unbinding.
watch it.
I
I'm tempted.
don't like watching things that are based on true stories.
I
Never mind a
know.
documentary about actual real stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God.
we watched The Conjuring. I think The Conjuring is based on a true. I could be making that up.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Is that a good first one?
Oh, that was an absolute terrifying story that had like real life implications. Like, what?
I'm scared.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and we're moving on?
Yeah.
Thank God.
All right. Back to you. Take it easy on me.
All right, this one is coming from a thread from Ask Reddit, and the thread is long haul truckers. What's the creepiest / most paranormal thing that you've seen on the road at night? And this one comes from
No, this scares
Jim
me.
Bob Paul.
No, this scares me. We drive. No.
A good friend of mine told me this story years ago. He is a stereotypical old big bad trucker. I've seen some weird stuff with him while driving in South Texas along the border. He's never batted an eye. But while telling me this story, he had goosebumps and a concerned expression, which from this guy is about the equivalent of a trembling lip and shit-stained pants. I'll tell you this story in the first person as he told to me. Years ago, it was the late 90s, and I was on my way from the house in Central Texas, heading to Laredo to pick up a load. It was in the early morning, around 4 to 5. I'd come off a string of days at home, so I knew I wasn't tired. I am on one of those 2-lane winding roads in the absolute middle of bumfuck nowhere, when I see something on the side of the road at the edge of my high beams. At first, I thought it was just roadkill, as is the usual case. As I got closer, I see that it is roadkill, and there's someone crouching over the deer carcass.
Oh no.
I remember thinking either this guy's taking the antlers as a trophy or he's fucking sick. As I got closer still, I can see now that this guy is eating the fucking deer.
Oh my god.
He's pulling chunks of meat from the stomach and bringing them up to his face. At this point, he stops mid-motion and looks up at me. Not at my truck, but at me. He, or it, stands up, and that's when I see that it's fucking huge, brown, and covered in hair. I remember thinking at this point, oh fuck, this thing is standing on the tiny shoulder looking at me. By this point, maybe 3 seconds have passed, and I'm about to get to the point in the road he's standing at. I didn't even think of stopping. In fact, I'm starting to lay on it and get the hell out of there. As I'm passing by, it's looking at me. Again, not at the truck. It's looking through the driver's side windshield at me. He obviously has the intelligence to know that there's a driver in here and knows where I'm sitting. As I start to pass him, I can still see its head above the hood of an old needle-nosed Pete, which is an old truck design where the hood goes straight out from the windshield, known for being tall and difficult to see around. This is a fucking giant. I remember seeing what looked like human intelligence in its eyes. Scared the shit out of me. Sorry for the wall of text. It's a story worth sharing, though.
What was it? I need answers. What the hell was it?
It was Bigfoot.
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 Bigfoot in my head is not scary. I'm not scared of Bigfoot. I don't want to put that in the universe. I feel like I just called it. I just called it over. Next time we're in the woods, we're gonna see Bigfoot. Fuck.
So someone does comment on this, and they said, I've seen a lot of similar stories about an 8-foot figure who looked like Bigfoot with human intelligence, and here's the catch. They all say it was in Loretto.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Well, we're never going there.
Probably
Wherever
not.
that is.
Nope.
Stay the fuck away.
Yep. All right. Back to you.
Okay. I live in the heart of Appalachia, and this is easily the most terrifying story of one of my experiences. This story may be short or it may be drawn out. I am recounting these events as I type it, as it was honestly one of the most horrifying things I have experienced, and it brings me genuine stress to think about. This happened maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I live in southern West Virginia and have for my entire life. The woods and mountains surround every direction you look, and nighttime is a darkness that you can never dream of unless experienced. I was with a friend, I'll call him Mark. Mark was at my house one evening, doing the usual things, watching UFC, playing Xbox, etc. It was extremely late when we finally got bored and decided to go for a walk on a nearby trail to smoke a joint. This is not a particularly long trail, but it is very dense in the woods that surround it, and it is easy to get freaked out when thinking of your surroundings. We finally get to about halfway into the trail, about 30 minutes in, where we stop, pack our joint, and stand on the trail to chill and talk. The forest is very alive tonight. There are always noises in the woods, but there was a lot of animal activity for that time. At this point, it was probably past 1 a.m. This was strange and kind of eerie, but not alerting, as any sort of predatory animal in the area may cause a disturbance. We finished smoking and continued to walk when almost immediately the forest falls dead quiet. And as soon as the forest goes quiet, there is a voice. It almost sounds like a mocking humanoid voice, shaky and uncertain. Almost like an old children's toy, like the ones where the crackly speakers in a robot voice, if you know what I mean. This immediately sets us off. We bolt directly down the opposite length of the trail, but the sound does not gain distance. It doesn't get closer per se, but no matter how far we ran down the trail, this eerie voice remains the same volume, going over and over and over with no quieting or stopping. At this point, I am convinced that we are in genuine danger, something I have felt very few times. Finally, after sprinting for who knows how long, we exit the trail, gasping for breath and almost at the verge of tears of how frightening this was. We begin to exit the trail, and about 5 minutes from the exit, there is a bone-shaking, heart-stopping, murderous scream from directly behind us. I know what a mountain lion sounds like. This was no animal. This was not someone playing or watching a movie. This scream sent birds flying from nests and made my heart drop into my stomach. It was the most genuinely depraved and violent scream that I have ever heard. This is a true story, but I have only told it to maybe 3 people, all of whom seem to brush it off as false. I've never been a person to push for the existence of the paranormal or spiritual, but I genuinely believe I encountered something inhuman in the woods.
Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. How are we supposed to read more of these?
How are we supposed to actually go in the woods after this, actually? The amount of hiking that we've been doing?
When we lived in Toronto, in the condo, there was so much light pollution.
I know. Stop.
And then do you remember the first nights we slept in the RV?
In the RV,
it was
so scary.
Pitch black at the farm.
Yeah.
Where there's no light pollution. It used to terrify me. Like, I grew up on the horse farm, and I would have to walk from the barn up to the house after you put the horses away, and it would be pitch black. And I remember there was a period from 7 to 10, I would be by myself. I would be tasked with hey, you need to go give the horses the 9 p.m. feeding and then come back up to the house. You got to go do it by yourself. You're 10 years old. I would sprint fast as I could towards the barn, and I would sprint as fast as I could back towards the house. And I never even heard anything.
Yeah.
Just dark was scary.
Dark is scary. I'm actually sad we left Toronto. Now it's I miss light pollution.
I do. We have that one light in our room.
It always just felt so safe.
Yeah.
You
didn't have to turn the light on to go to the washroom.
Yeah. It was always there was people awake outside, you know? Like there was
Yeah.
people around. There was always like
Safety.
driving cars and stuff
Safety and activity
Safety.
and numbers. Yeah, people doing stuff.
in the middle of freaking nowhere.
We've been sleeping a lot in the middle of nowhere.
We have. Now, I haven't really thought of it much, but
I
now
know,
I'm
it's kind of spooky.
now I'm spooked. Okay. Top comment. Top comment says, "Cool. I live in extremely rural southern West Virginia, and I'm going to continue my streak of not going out at night unless I have to." Spooky.
Literally.
Another comment says, "This reminds me of the time out with my friends in the woods at night, strangely close to the Appalachian Trail, actually, but up north. There was a strange bait light up in the trees in front of us, and we all noticed a bad smell and suddenly an earth-shattering scream from everywhere, and no shit, the whole area started kind of shaking and vibrating with the loud screaming sound. Every single one of us ended up on the ground, and the guys I were with were all lifelong outdoor rural farm boys and a little drunk and confident, and I never ever saw them freak out like that. I basically got scooped up and ran off, carried out of there just by their momentum. Then we got back to the car, and my car wouldn't fucking start up at first, which had never happened before or since. There were 5 of us, and we all remembered and geeked out over it for years after, and some people definitely find it weird and believe us since we all have the same story. How can it be denied? But no explanation yet. I've heard people say maybe some ball lightning or a microburst, but I don't know. I don't think so."
Oh my God, that's
How
terrifying.
how do people share this experience?
But I feel like I've had some scary experiences, like at like the horse farm or my grandparents' farm, and I just, if I did, that shit is buried.
Yeah.
What's that called? Repressed?
Repressed.
That shit's repressed.
Yeah.
Like I do remember one time, me and my friends, we got really drunk and we went out to a house party, and I called my dad to come get us. He's like, "I drove you out there at 1 a.m. I'm not coming to get you at 3 a.m. It's like, you wanted to go out there. You got to walk home this time." And we had to walk like 7 kilometers back, and it was just pitch black. And at one point we're walking along the road and we're like, well, if we take this like ATV trail, it's a shortcut to get to my friend's house instead of going the long way. And pitch black trail, and it was so scary, but I don't remember anything like spooky happening. Just the freaking moonlight is
Just
spooky
creepy,
enough. Yeah. Or like I wanted to run as fast as I can.
I always get excited. Well, always. Like, this is our second episode. Second spooky episode. But I remember last year too, I got excited before. And now I'm like regretting it.
You get hyped up before, and then
I
when you're in the moment, you're
do.
like, shit.
It's like when I watch a scary movie too. Like, I get excited, the anticipation before watching it. But
Yeah.
then as I'm watching it, I'm like, why the fuck did I do this?
You like the idea of it.
Yeah, I don't. What's wrong with me?
Isn't there a thing for like the Appalachian like whistle or something?
Yeah, we were talking
about
about
that
it.
because we
Yeah.
heard a whistle. We were out on the trail, right?
I'm gonna try to find some background on it. In Appalachian folklore, whistling in the woods at night is considered a bad omen, attracting unwanted attention from spirits or supernatural entities. If you hear a whistle at night, the belief is to not acknowledge it or whistle back, and instead pretend to be heading inside. Running away is believed to provoke the entity to chase you, so acting as if you are leaving the area is a recommended action.
Oh, okay. Note to self, don't whistle in the dark night. Got it. Check. I think I can do that for the rest of my life. No problem.
Oh my God. How can you just not acknowledge it?
Yep.
Does it only happen? Okay, this is a dumb question. Does it only happen in the Appalachian Mountains?
And does it only happen at night? Because we'd be solid then if we heard the whistle on our hike. Hasn't felt like anything's been following us for like a week now.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. Our house is on wheels. We'll just leave the spirit behind.
Sure. Yeah, it's believed to only be within the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh,
We're
thank
good.
fucking God. I'm never going there.
Not in the Canadian Rockies.
No, not in Banff.
Okay.
All right, back to me.
Yes.
This one's titled My Daughter's Imaginary Friend.
No.
In 2013, my wife and I divorced, and we both moved into separate homes. The divorce went well, and we were still good friends to this day, partly because we have a daughter together. We agreed to split custody over our daughter, and I rented an old house in a historic district in the city where we live. It was a very pretty home, built in 1935, but kept up very well. I would have my daughter 2 weeks at a time, and she had a bedroom in the back of the house. She was 3 years old at the time, and I kept noticing her talking to her friend. One day, I found her in a little closet talking to someone, and I remember her saying that she was talking to another little girl named Betty. I have no idea where she heard the name Betty, as she was only 3 years old, but I chalked it up to a child's vivid imagination. Keep in mind, I am a single dad to a little girl. I really have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to dressing, hair, and just little girl stuff in general. Her mother is good at that stuff, but not me. I put my daughter to bed one night after her bath. I remember brushing her hair that night, but that was all I did. The very next morning, her mom came to pick her up from my house, and my daughter was just waking up. My mom went back to her bedroom to find my daughter's hair was fixed in 2 perfect French braids.
Stop it.
Her mom was real proud of me at first that I had done her hair so cute, but I told her that I didn't and couldn't do that. I can't even braid her hair, much less do perfect French braids. We asked our daughter how her hair got fixed, and she told us that Betty had done it during the night. I broke the contract on that rental agreement and moved out within the next month.
Thank God, a reasonable person. Oh my God.
Someone says, top comment, why would you move? You had an in-house hairdresser. OP replies and says, she was good, just not reliable.
Oh my God. That is nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know that it's not something that, like, has to do with your daughter and it has to do with the house?
Yep.
Like, how... I don't know, obviously, much about paranormal stuff, but I feel like from the movies I've seen, like, sometimes it has to do with the person, sometimes it has to do with the house.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like...
Another top comment says, I feel a little bad for Betty. I bet she was happy to have a friend probably near her age. Depending on the French braid, she was probably about 10 to 13 years old. Spooky, but sounds like a benevolent spirit.
Okay, go move in there then. Go keep Betty company. What the fuck? Not you shaming OP for moving up for his safety. God.
Someone else says, my mother-in-law is a Betty. Breaking your lease was the only sensible thing you could do. I think there's a dig
I don't
at
get it.
mother-in-law.
Oh.
Another person says, yikes, any chance a human got inside your place? That is really creepy. Wishing you the best for you and your daughter at your new place. And OP says, that had crossed my mind, but I really don't see how they could. The house was pretty secure, and the alarm always makes noises when the door opens and shut.
I don't know
Oh.
what would be scarier, actually.
A fucking human. Absolutely. I will take the ghost in this scenario than a human coming in and braiding the kid's hair in the middle of the night. Fuck yeah, give me the ghost. Let's go, Casper. I'm ready, bitch. Fucking fight, Betty.
Holy hell.
Holy hell's right.
Okay. Another one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one was short, but it gave me full body goosies. Went to an old house in the woods. Me and 4 of my friends saw something different on our way home. So this was a few years ago, but it still makes me feel super weird to even think about it. So my husband and I went to explore this creepy, super old house in the middle of the woods of Oregon with 3 of our friends. We had our fun exploring it and then started to head back, having about a 2-mile hike ahead of us. At some point on the way back, I saw this person sitting down and sobbing. He or she had on really baggy clothes and looked very dirty. They had their head in their lap so I couldn't see their face. I had a very strange feeling and for whatever reason, just kept walking without going over to help or something. I saw all my friends looking at it, but were totally silent. We all started walking a bit quicker though. Anyways, we kept walking in total silence and everything just felt weird for a few minutes. Finally, one of our friends says something along the lines of, "That guy was really strange." That's where things got really weird. The other friend said, "Guy? I just saw a dog." Well, that eventually led us to all discussing what we saw. I saw the person crying, one of us saw a dog by itself, one of us saw a man mocking us as we walked by, and one of us just saw a sleeping person. I don't know what to think of it.
I can't.
No,
I can't handle this.
that was so
I know what to
fucked
think
up.
about it. Fucking creepy.
That was so fucked up. What do you mean?
There's an article here that they attached for the Witch's Castle.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an article posted by Katie Zitz for Zeit. So if you click the link down below, you'll see that there's pictures for the Witch's Castle. These old stone ruins in Oregon wilderness were once bathrooms and are steeped in legends of murder. So the article goes on to say, from tales of murder to bathrooms to the site of high school keggers, the ruins that are known as the Witch's Castle have lived a number of lives, and none of them were very pleasant. In the mid-1800s, well before the structure was built, a man named Danford Blanche bought a large portion of land around the area while Portland was still in the process of being developed. It was a big enough area that he had to hire help to clear the area. So he hired a man named Mortimer Strump, who lived in the cabin on the property with the Blanche's family of 10. Over time, Stump and Blanche's daughter Anna fell in love, and eventually Stump asked Blanche for Anna's hand in marriage. Blanche refused, resulting in Stump and Anna threatening to elope. Blanche became infuriated and told Stump that he would murder him if they did. The young couple didn't heed the warning and decided to elope of November of 1858. When Blanche learned of their elopement, he became deeply depressed, which led to days of no sleep and heavy drinking. When the young couple returned to Portland, Blanche quickly remedied the situation how he saw fit. He shot Stump in the face with a double-barrel shotgun while all were aboard the Stark Street ferry. Blanche was quickly arrested, but was able to escape from the wooden jail cell that he was held in.
Jesus.
This led to his execution in mid-October 1859, which became the first legal execution in Oregon.
Whoa.
After Blanche's death, the property was passed around through different hands down the next century, eventually bequeathed to the city of Portland. In the 1930s, the stone structure that is seen today was built near the site of the Blanche homestead. It was maintained by Portland's Parks and Recreation and was used as a ranger station and restrooms for hikers. In 1962, the structure was heavily damaged in a storm and abandoned. Moss soon covered the stone walls, the roof caved in, and some people graffitied its walls. It was mostly forgotten until the 1980s when a local high school students found it was a fun place to hold parties. The students named it the Witch's Castle, despite no connection to witches, and made a tradition of holding gatherings on Friday nights, something that still happens today.
Okay, it's actually really pretty though.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Like,
Maybe we should go check it out when we go to visit Portland.
I don't want to see, dog or sleeping man or someone mocking us on the trail. No, thank you.
Yeah,
No, that's indisputable.
it's crazy. How do they all see something different?
Right? That's so eerie. That's like pit in my stomach eerie.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The top comment of this post said, God, that's creepy as fuck. I believe whatever you saw was enticing you to come and help so it could do some harm to you.
Jesus.
Yeah, because they were all like a dog by itself.
Yep.
Someone sleeping.
Yep.
Well, maybe not someone sleeping, but someone crying.
Well, something's sleeping. Like, you come up to it, hey, buddy, you okay? Slit your throat.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
All right, back to you.
Back to me. This one's coming from Ask Reddit. What's the creepiest or most paranormal thing that's ever happened to you? And one of the top comments is, creepy for me.
What was that? What was that? Did you hear that?
The door creaking.
Don't do that door.
Creepy for me, I was having a tense conversation with someone that I was close to years ago. The conversation quickly devolved into a passive-aggressive fight that ended with the other person getting in their car and driving away. As I started heading back inside, the other person came back, got out of the car, and started our conversation again. The tone of voice was totally different, and the stance was different, and the feeling in the air was completely off. I don't know how else to explain it. As the conversation progressed, the other person started saying some nasty and mean things that were completely out of character. I said, "This isn't like you, person." They said, What makes you think that I am person? I remember continuing the conversation and talking to the person for a long time, but I don't remember anything specific. I do remember becoming more and more alarmed and knowing something wasn't right. Finally, I told the person to go home. They complied and left. Went back inside and started telling my sibling about the situation when the doorbell rang. Maybe 2 to 3 minutes had passed. It was the person coming back to apologize for the original fight. They had been driving around town for a long time and didn't want to go home, leaving things unresolved. I asked why they had to say some of those things to me from the last conversation, and they looked at me like I was crazy. They had no idea what I was talking about. Totally could have been lying, but the whole situation just felt dark. Scared the hell out of me.
No, thank you. No, fucking thank you. I don't claim anything in these stories. I don't claim any bad energy. Please.
Like, you don't claim? What are you talking about?
No,
You don't
I
claim
feel like I need to
anything.
say it. I feel like I need to say it so that nothing bad happens to me.
There's going to be like a special,
What?
like, bonus episode. Like, this is episode 99.
99 is a spooky episode.
Yeah, it is spooky. Kind of lined up.
9s are spooky.
It's kind of like meant to be.
Kind of was, yeah. Damn.
But like, there's gonna be like an episode 99.5, and it's just gonna be us telling you guys about all the paranormal shit that fucking happened to us
don't
tonight
even say that.
and tomorrow night because of all of these stories and all the shit we're inviting into our house.
No, revoke that. Stop it. Don't talk like that.
But I got the sage ready.
Okay.
There's another comment on this post that says, I was living with my now mother-in-law in a house she had just purchased a few months before. We had had various weird feelings or experiences in the house, but 2 really stick out. Collectively, there were 3 dogs living in the house at the time. One evening, we were all sitting with our backs to the hallway. This is significant. And we were watching a movie. All of a sudden, my German Shepherd and my Terrier both perk up their ears and start staring down the hallway behind where we are sitting. I mean, full attention. I notice and turn around, and the light on the hall was off and it was dark. But of course, I don't see anything. 5 minutes later, they're still staring and now growling. This time, my wife and I turn around and we both watch as the light switch on the wall gets flipped to on. The dogs went crazy, and so did we. A few weeks later, same scenario. Light is off. We are watching a movie. My German Shepherd loved to play fetch, and we always had a million balls around to entertain her. This time, she's staring down the hallway and wagging her damn tail. This time, we all notice again and start to watch. I swear to God, a single orange tennis ball came rolling down the hallway towards her.
Stop!
We all went white. There were a few others, but Jesus, I hated that hallway. It never felt like bad energy, but my feeble little brain was still scared nonetheless.
No!
So that poster goes on to edit and says, one more story. My mother-in-law was having these dreams a few weeks after moving in about the house catching fire and burning to the ground with us all inside. Horrible. About 3 weeks after these dreams, we woke up one morning and distinctively smelled smoke coming from the house somewhere. Panicked, we all started searching and eventually came to the garage. On a rafter, we noticed smoke coming from around a fluorescent light fixture. At that moment, I realized, my God, that's attached directly to the old dried out beam. The light was left on all night and it was clearly burning the rafter ever so slightly. Lights are not supposed to be secured/screwed onto a rafter like that. So we like to think our ghost hosts were looking out for all of us. After that, her dream stops. So thanks, Ghosty.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
At least it saved you. That's so nice of them.
Yeah, and it threw the ball for your dog. So like nice.
Nice ghost.
Ghosty.
Hey, they're a nice
super,
ghosty.
super nice Ghosty.
God.
Back to you, if you dare.
For a decade, I was a paranormal tour guide at an infamous location. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, formerly known as Western State Hospital, is a Kirkbride building that housed the mentally ill from 1864 to 1994. In 2007, it was privately purchased and has become a museum/historical location and ghost hunting spot. It has a most unpleasant and dark history that I've regaled to thousands of people, and it pains me to be an expert on the subject. In 2021, I retired from my position as a guide and ghost hunt event manager under severe burnout. After all that I experienced there, it solidified in my mind that paranormal things that defy rational explanation do indeed happen, and certain phenomenon are absolutely real, electronic voice phenomenon especially. It's almost October and I'm feeling a little spooky, so here are a couple of strange things I've experienced in my time there. Denver's like, do we have to do this?
I don't like real ones.
They're all real. Mine are all real.
Everybody else, you could make a case. You can make a case for them of being like, they're just typing it in, or this person's a fucking tour guide. This person should be like, hey, just so you guys know, it's all fugazi. We set these things up to make people think that there's real ghosts on the ghost tour. Little devices in the wall, little tappy here, little tap tap there, little girl's child voice playing with a little ball over here. And this person's coming on and saying, here's the real shit that I experienced. Yeah, I'm not happy with this one.
Oh, God. One evening while training for the job, I was on the first floor with a couple coworkers while everyone else was touring upstairs. We were just kind of killing time, quietly observing the area. Light from outside was coming in through the windows, casting on the inner hall's wall. In the light, I watched the perfect silhouette of a man from head to hip walk through that light from left to right. I said something about it, and the three of us just watched as an arm and a hand moved into the light from the right side. I immediately ran into the room and began looking out of the window for someone outside. There was no one there. At that time, the realization that from the ground to the bottom of the window is like 7 feet didn't even occur to me. I will never forget the crisp, clear silhouette shape for as long as I live. We would run experiments with a spirit box. It rapidly scans radio frequencies and are believed to be communication devices. One person would use one with noise-canceling earbuds. All they're able to hear is the radio static and blips of a few random stations. When they hear a word or phrase, they are to say it out loud. I always liked this role in the experiment. One evening, my coworker and I ran one of these experiments in a notorious room where a murder in 1987 took place. For 10 minutes, I sat and listened to nothing but radio static through the spirit box. No blips of radio, nothing except of the static. I was starting to get bored when I heard a woman's voice say, "evil." So I spoke up and repeated the word, "evil." Next thing I know, my coworker is shining her light in my face to get my attention. I pull out the earbud, and she is practically frantic, saying, "It's time to go, it's time to go." So we haul ass out of the room, down the hall, down the next hall to the center section before she even would tell me what happened. While I was hearing nothing but static, she said she kept hearing what sounded like someone shuffling their feet and walking around just outside of the door. She said she spoke up and asked, "Whoever is out in the hallway, are they nice?" That was when I spoke out and said, "evil."
Holy fuck. Thumbs, man.
In the wee hours of the night, we figured it would be cool to see what would happen if we shut all the doors of the ward. One of the doors, as I was closing it, the knob twisted in my hand. I was not twisting the knob, and was forcibly pulled closed. I stood there for several moments, opening and closing the door, trying to replicate what happened, trying to explain it. Finally, the person with me was like, "What the hell are you doing?" It was so weird. I've never felt an invisible force like that before. Had 3 people spend the night one night, and they had thermal imaging video. They set it up pointing down the hall where we could all watch on a tablet. We thought it would be interesting to leave a device at the far end of the hall that would alarm in the field around if it was disturbed. As one of the dudes walked down the hall to put it there, we could see his form on thermal imaging, clearly human-shaped in colors representing heat and warmth. When he walked by one of the doorways about 1/4 down the ward, the shape of a head, neck, shoulders, and upper body of a person in colors indicating cooler temperatures peeked out as he walked by. Like someone popped out of the room for a sec as he walked by to check him out. I've never seen anything like it, and I won't forget it, and would give my left testicle, if I had one, for a copy of the footage. That happened a lot. A guest capturing something far out and not sending us a copy. I'll end this long-winded Reddit post with something that absolutely changed me and that I still don't understand. I remember the exact night and time of these occurrences. That's how profound and somewhat unsettling they were. June 3rd and June 4th of 2017, 3:40 a.m. The witching hour! Fucking hate 3 o'clock. I hate waking up at 3 o'clock and looking at the time. Oh my god. June 3rd. After an hour or so of hearing a female's voice, one instance even sounded like she said my name, as well as banging around, footsteps, literally running sounds on the hardwood floor towards us, I sat quietly on the floor with a group. I started to feel dizzy, lightheaded, and gross. I told myself it was my imagination and that I'd be fine. A few minutes later, I started to feel this intense burning sensation in my lower back, just to the right of my spine. Again, I told myself it was just my imagination. The burning sensation kept amping up, getting worse and worse. I told myself that I didn't want to be that guy and say anything in front of these people, you know? Finally, I got to the point where I had to say something. I asked my coworker with us if there was anything there. She was like, OMG. There, on my lower back, just to the right of my spine, was a mark that looked like a burn or an abrasion about 3 to 4 inches long and about 1 inch wide. Now, I'd seen other such claims made by visitors of scratch marks and the like, often writing them off, and the marks were always gone within an hour at most. I had visible markings on my back for almost a week. My nerves there, to this day, often feel weird, sometimes chilled, sometimes like a skin soreness, especially when I think on the experience. June 4th, same part of the building, same time of the night, because I just can't get enough, right? I noticed that my voice recorder ran out of memory, so I'm holding it in my right hand, using my flashlight in my left so I can see what I'm doing. Suddenly, I feel a burning sensation on my underside of my right forearm. Did a what the fuck and shifted my flashlight to it. The person behind me and I watched as 3 welts began to appear down my arm. Needless to say, that shit blew my mind. It is one thing to see marks like that. It is a whole ass other to watch it as it happens on your own skin. Like the majority of instances I've heard about, those marks were gone within 10 to 15 minutes. No lasting effects. Scared would be the wrong word, but I have none to describe my mind frame around those events. I took a week off from work after to try and process it all and was nervous being in that hallway for the rest of that summer. Like I said, I still don't know what to think or believe. I've got enough stories of experiences to probably fill a book, but I'll leave you with those for now. I will add a final note about how constantly poking around in the dark and talking about past true horrors of human experiences day in and day out truly takes its toll, spiritually and emotionally. Since my resignation, my mental health and overall level of happiness has greatly improved. I used to tell people for a while afterwards that it felt like I'd gotten out of a toxic relationship with that place.
Jeez.
So there's a picture that he posted.
Oh my god, of the welt on his back.
Yep.
Fuck that. I'm out.
No, this was the burn on his back.
Yeah, the
not
burn on the
welt.
back. I'm running as fast and as far as I can. Oh, I am running away. I would be running away.
Oh my gosh.
So that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's scary. Very.
So a comment said, I went on a day tour there about 5 years ago with my girlfriend, last tour of the day. I remember 2 things very clearly I encountered. 1, we entered a room that was some kind of misbehaving room, where 2 others murdered the roommate through hanging with the sheets or something. The second I walked through the doorway, it was like walking through a sheet of frozen air in the middle of a hot summer day. And I knew something bad happened in that room before the guide told us about it. I whispered to my girlfriend that somebody died in there, and she asked me how I knew afterwards. Second, at the end of the tour, we returned to the main entrance by way of the long hallway on the left side. The guide had walked towards the entrance, and my girlfriend and I both heard a bodiless whistle going back down the empty hallway we just came from. She completely denies it happened and says it was an employee. Later, heard the exact same whistle in a video some ghost hunter show had recorded that had visited there. She still denies to this day that it could have been paranormal. And OP replies, okay, the room you first mentioned in your comment, that's the room for my evil story. Phantom whistling was definitely a thing there, all throughout the building. One of my old coworkers there would swear on anything sacred that he whistled out, shave and a haircut, and got 2 whistles back in reply when no one was around. The instant I heard it, it was like someone was whistling a little melody. That was in the Civil War section, the oldest part of the building.
I never want to go there.
Oh, we won't. Don't worry.
Not a chance.
Don't worry.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance. No, 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 no.
Thanks
no,
for
no, no.
sharing your story. You have deterred us from
Yes.
ever coming.
Yes. All right.
All right, back to
me.
you.
This one's coming from Ask Reddit. It's called "What's the creepiest place that you've been?" And one of the comments says, "My worst was on a ghost tour in New Orleans 2 years ago. We went to some fairly non-active, unimpressive places first. Last, almost as an afterthought it seemed, we ended up at this museum on Rampart Street. It was a voodoo museum that the tour company operated out of. A total tourist trap. There were 4 of us, 2 couples. The tour guide showed us there was a door behind a body bag that was hanging on the wall. She explained behind the door was our last location to investigate for the evening, and we would go in as 2s as we had done before. My partner and I had gone first at the other big location, so we let the couple with us go into this place first. The tour guide took us into the other room and showed us to a room with some chairs and a night vision monitor with our friends on it. They looked to be in a tiny apartment, and we could hear they were above us. After not long at all, maybe 3 minutes, they both came back into the room looking shaken. They both said, "We don't know what's going on in there, but that's no bueno." We had to get out. These were not people who were easily rattled. Curious, my partner and I went next. There were a few flights of stairs that led into the small apartment. There was a main room with a door off of it to the left that led to a small bedroom. To the right was a door leading to the galley kitchen, a narrow hallway, and a bathroom at the end. We walked around in the living room and the bedroom. There were some dolls in the bedroom. One was a Chucky doll. Har, har, har. We heard what may have been a small child giggling at one point. Nothing big and scary. At that point, I was just wondering if they were not a fan of little kid ghosts or Chucky. The second we walked across the threshold into the kitchen, everything changed. It was small and cramped, with a dirty stove and an empty, dirty fridge with the doors hanging open. Nothing remarkable, but it was how it felt. The only way I can describe it is if I instantly had the feeling in my stomach that you get on a roller coaster, but not in the good way. My mouth went dry, and there was something else that seemed to be building. I tried to shake it off and walked down the narrow hallway to the bathroom. Again, standard bathtub, sink, mirror, but that feeling wouldn't go away, and the second feeling crept up even more until I finally pinpointed it. I felt like there was an incredibly angry, evil, malevolent, something that hated me to my core of my being staring me down from a quarter of an inch from my face, but it was invisible.
Jesus.
This thing hated me like nothing possibly could hate anything on this earth, and it had just met me.
Did you hear that?
And there was not a shred of doubt in my mind that this thing was inhuman. I don't remember if I told my partner I wanted to leave or if I just ran on my own. I honestly don't remember coming down the stairs back to the museum. I just remember being in a chair, hyperventilating, chilled to the bone with fear. The tour guide looked unaffected, and I said, "What the fuck is in that kitchen?" almost sobbing. She said, kind of blatantly, "Yeah, he doesn't like me much either." And then she told us.
Oh my God.
This is what is known as the Rampart Street Murder House. A couple who met during Hurricane Katrina lived up there. Their names are Zach and Addie. They were well-known bartenders from the French Quarter. They fought occasionally, but nothing too serious, it seemed. One night, out of nowhere, Zach strangled Addie to death and then dismembered her corpse in the bathtub. He cooked her on the stove, then stored the rest of her in the refrigerator, including her head. He wrote a suicide note, then partied for the weekend, and capped it off by jumping off the roof of the Omni Hotel.
Oh?
All of the appliances were the original appliances.
Oh my God.
Edit. There's more info if anyone wants it. And if you click on the link down below and find that post.
He doesn't like me much either.
Tour guide knows what's up.
That's terrifying.
Tour guide knows what's going down.
Invalidating.
Yeah.
I don't want to be validated, actually. I want you to invalidate me. Tell me that it's all in my head.
Yeah, right? I mean, you got what you paid for, I guess.
Oh my God. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Okay, back to me. This one comes from Creepy Encounters. My husband and I think we dodged a serial killer. 2 years ago in the winter, my husband and I bought and moved to a farm in small town Appalachia. We decided to go down to our local Tractor Supply to buy a propane tank. As we were in the checkout line, a man, in his late 50s, I assume, walked in and stared at us. We decided to go down to our local Tractor Supply to buy a propane tank. As we were there in the checkout line, a man, in his late 50s, I assume, walked in and stared at us. He grabbed a random woman's shirt off a shelf, then turned back, stared at us some more, and stood behind us in line. He stood so close I could feel his breath on my neck. I was extremely uncomfortable, but I figured it's a small town, so everyone is just overly nice. So I turned toward him, smiled, nodded, and said good morning, hoping the man would feel as uncomfortable as I did and back up a bit. He did not. He started talking to us. Initially started with pleasant small talk. The weather is getting quite cold. The line is taking forever. Telling us about him picking up his great aunt from the airport in 2 hours, etc. Then quickly going into more intrusive territory. Where are you guys from? Where are you living now? How old are you guys? For context, though, I was in my late 20s and my husband was only a few years behind me. Our baby faces could have easily passed for 20 to 21. When it was our turn to check out, I said, "Have a good day," to the man and went up to the register. As the guy behind the register started to explain their propane pricing, the man started to flip out. I mean, he started yelling at the poor 17-year-old kid working his weekend job, saying, "I can't believe y'all are charging them so much for a propane tank. And they're a young newlywed couple. Why can't you give them a break?" He just kept going on and cussing beneath his breath at the guy behind the counter. Then he once again turned to us and said, "Hey, I have a 100-pound tank I'm not using at home. I'll let y'all have it for free if you want. You'll just need to come with me." My husband thanked him but declined. He said, "Are you sure? My house is only 20 minutes from here and I could even give you 2 tanks." Again, my husband declined. He continued, "We have to do it now, though, because I have to go to the airport and leave town in 2 hours." This was a slip-up we hadn't noticed until we got home later that day. At this point, I said no thank you in a bit more assertive tone. Getting what I assumed was annoyed, he dropped his items and stormed out. As we went outside to get our tank filled up, the man pulled up into the parking spot next to the fill-up area in his pickup truck. He got out and went back at it, quote, "You should really think about getting a second tank. It'll save you a trip and would last you longer." He continued, "If you don't want to both go, one of y'all can just come and ride with me and the other can meet at my place." I replied, "No thank you, we're good." Then he said, "Come on, it's a small town, it's safe. I would never hurt such a lovely young couple." At this point, the outdoor employee came out of the propane area and told him to get the fuck out of there and to stop bothering us. So he got in his truck that did not have a license plate and drove off. The other day, while filling up our tanks, the guy helping us asked us about that day and if we ever saw the guy again. Apparently, he comes by in the winters when it's quiet and only talks to young couples. Major creepy vibes.
Very spooky, very creepy, and Jesus. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Top comment, quote, "I would never hurt such a lovely young couple." If you have to spell that out, you're already creepy as fuck, dude.
Right? If you have to say that. Jeez.
Also, first it was, "I gotta pick my aunt up from the airport." Then it's, "I have a flight to catch in 2 hours."
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you lying?
Because he wants to chop you up and eat you and wear your skin
Oh my God.
like it's a Halloween costume. And eat your eyeballs like it's caviar.
Oh my, yum.
What?
All right, back to you.
All right, this one's called "My Grandpa Didn't Know He Was Dead."
Oh.
About 10 or so months ago, my grandfather died. It was a sudden death that resulted from a car crash. He never knew what happened. About 2 weeks or so later, I had a dream. He was sitting at the kitchen table, saw me, and asked, "OP, where am I? What's going on?" I looked at him and said, "You died." He responded with, "Oh, okay." He didn't really seem too surprised by the news. He went on to say that he keeps seeing this white light and that he doesn't know what it is, but that it keeps calling to him. I told him that it's a good place where his brother and mother are, that it's peaceful and full of love, that they're waiting for him and would very much like to see him again. But then I told him in a very important way that it is his choice. He didn't have to go and could wait as long as he wanted.
Stop.
thought about it for a moment, and said he was going to wait a while. I cried, and he started to make himself a comfortable home. Then I woke up. I truly believe that I got to communicate with him after he died and that he needed me to tell him that he had died.
I'm literally crying. I'm literally tearing up right now.
Yeah.
Wait, what? That's kind of sad.
Really sad.
What the hell?
This top comment says, in some religions, if people suddenly die or while intoxicated or on drug, they might not know they died and their spirit or souls will wander.
Damn.
Someone else says, I've heard similar theories, whereas sudden deaths can be more likely to leave remnants of the soul in this world, as opposed to someone who, let's say, dies of a lingering condition like cancer or something, that their life force gets absorbed into their soul to try and heal. But when you get hit by a bus, that life force is still there, not knowing exactly what is happening. OP, thank you very much for sharing. I know that it was good for your Gramps to hear, and he knows that on his newfound journey, he can always lean on you now. I lost both my parents a few years back, almost back to back, and I also truly feel I communicated with them via the dream realm.
Wow. I actually love this one. It's sad, but also heartwarming.
Yeah.
Not scary in the slightest. We should have left that one for last.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, back to my scary ones.
Great. Yay, can't wait. Woo!
Church in the Woods. A long-time lurker on here using a throwaway. I've recently found myself snowed in and bored, so I figured I'd finally share my own story. This really happened, and this is how it went down. No bullshit. This isn't fiction, and I'll warn you, it's long. I grew up in Ohio in the 70s, and me and my childhood friend, Joe, were outside all the time we could manage it. Joe lived on a farm that bordered a pretty big forest, and my parents would drop me off in the morning, and we'd stay in the woods all weekend. We'd only come out for school. We loved pretending we were frontiersmen. We'd build shelter, traps, practice making fires with sticks, the whole 9 yards. When we got to be in high school, we got this notion to pull a Stand By Me. This was based on the movie of the same name that had just come out. The idea was that we'd walk the railroad tracks out in the country, but instead of looking for a dead body, we'd find cool bridges to fish from and camp a little ways off the tracks. Of course, we knew this was dangerous and we'd likely be trespassing, but we were kids. We had a lot of fun. We did find beautiful rivers, we discovered bridges no one went to, we fished, we hid from trains. At night, we camped in woods just near the tracks and made small hidden fires. Nothing bad ever happened. It was idyllic. In fact, it was so fun we did it multiple times, never had a problem. After high school, me and Joe went our own ways. We both left home, but always stayed in touch and always tried to coordinate visits so we'd see each other occasionally. Well, one summer in the mid-90s, it worked out that we were both in town for about a week. We'd do stuff with family in the day, and at night, we'd either catch drinks at a bar or sit outside Joe's house around a fire and talk about the old days. One night, me and Joe got to talking about our, quote, Stand By Me trips. Well, nostalgia and beer are a hell of a mix. Soon we decided to take a day, walk the rails, camp one night, and walk home. The day came, we started out early morning. We had my wife drop us off in our old spots where we used to start, right outside our hometown. She thought this was absolutely crazy and made sure to mention it. When she pulled away, Joe suggested that instead of walking the usual route, we take the opposite direction, just to be adventurous. We knew the land well, we had a map, so I gave a what the hell, and off we went. The day went fine. It was fun and a little sad, but in a good way. We found a bridge and sat on the edge, smoked a joint, and moved on. We had no fishing gear, but we brought some canned food and other stuff. Before night started to set in, we picked a spot to camp. It was a thick forested area, trees on every side of the train tracks so you feel like you were in a tunnel. We had bought small hammocks to sleep on, but before we set them up, we decided to do a little scouting of the perimeter. Now, this is what we used to do in the old days too. We'd walk the area around a little bit to make sure some dude's house wasn't just over the hill and we were actually camping in their yard. We walked maybe 100 or so feet into the woods and up into a small incline. We figured if we didn't see anything from the top of the short hill, we'd be fine. But when we got to the top, we saw an old building down at the bottom. About 100 yards into the woods, it was barely visible. We pondered over what to do. We both assumed it was a sugar shack or something, because there didn't appear to be a clear road into it. But from where we were, there didn't look to be anyone in it either. All was quiet, no movement could be seen, no lights. We decided to walk a little closer just to make sure. We came down the hill very slowly, and as we neared the building, we saw it wasn't a sugar shack at all. It was an old church. It looked like it had been abandoned for years. It was a squat, sagging building whose wooden planks were almost black from years of moss and rot. A cross still stood on the top of the place, also weathered black. None of the windows had glass, and there were no doors, just open doorways. We got close enough to see inside. There were rows of pews and a built-up section in front for the preacher to stand. We didn't go all the way in. We didn't want to. Beyond all that, there was no sign of anyone else. No footprints, no paths, no roads. It was an abandoned church. We left immediately and went back up the hill to our spot we had picked to camp. Having a hill between us and the church made us feel better, but we were still a little uneasy. We chalked it up to the natural creepiness seeing a church in the middle of the woods would elicit. Besides, at this point it was dusk and we just started to rig up our hammocks to go to sleep and move on at early morning. Night set in, and as we lay in our hammocks and shot the shit, we began to hear something in the direction of the church. Our conversation about it went a little like this. Do you hear that? What the fuck is that? It sounds like people singing. And it did sound just like singing. We both slid right out of our hammocks and hunkered down, straining to hear more. We listened for a minute or two, and the singing continued, but it wasn't getting louder. Finally, we decided to creep back up the hill and see if we could spy where the sound was coming from. We could still move very quietly in the woods from the old days. It was second nature to us. The moon was barely out, but it provided enough light so you wouldn't walk right into a tree, but it was near pitch black. We didn't use flashlights as we crept slowly up the hill, and we didn't talk. When we got to the top, we saw light in the distance. It was coming from the church, and the singing was coming from inside. Joe and I put our heads close together and had a hushed conversation that boiled down to, "Can you believe this shit?" The light looked to be candlelight from the way it flickered, and though we tried, we couldn't make out what was being sung. It sounded like church music, but in another language. We sat and watched for a while, trying to see who was in there, but we only saw occasional shadows. We had no intention of getting closer either. We had about a football field length between us, and we aimed to keep it that way. The singing continued for a bit, and then it stopped. After that, a booming male voice began to chant. I was already freaked out, but this voice thoroughly scared the shit out of me. It sounded like some Old Testament preacher you see in the movies. But again, it was like he was speaking in a different language because we couldn't understand a single word. Eventually, it got to where the single male voice would say something and then a bunch of voices would answer in song. This lasted for a while, and then they all broke into this long, sustained wail that just kept getting louder. It got so loud and so disturbing that I covered my ears. Then it stopped. At this point, I was just getting ready to say, "Let's get the fuck out of here," when Joe put a hand on my shoulder and hissed, "They're coming out." We were far enough away that we couldn't make them out really well, but what we could see was a line of figures walk out the open doorway, all holding hands in single file. We could see more of them had flashlights. They began to sing again, and the light from the flashlights began to move towards us and the hill. We booked it back down to our campsite, grabbed our shit, and ran to the tracks. Once there, we ran down the tracks in the direction we had come from. After a few minutes, we stopped and looked back. We saw lights coming down the hill. They were moving erratically, like whoever was holding them was shaking them. We continued to run in spurts and walk as fast as we could. We eventually stopped seeing the light and came to the road. By our map, we knew a small town was about 15 minutes down it, and we walked there, got to a 24-hour gas station, and called my wife to come get us. My wife and other friends all just thought it was kids messing around, but I heard those voices, and they sure as hell didn't sound like kids to me. Not sure who those people were, but it was definitely the creepiest thing that happened to me out in the woods.
Fucking cult. It's a cult.
It's a fucking
It's a
cult.
cult.
If it walks
It's
like
a
a cult and
cult.
looks like a cult, it's a fucking cult.
It's a cult. It's a cult.
I'm terrified.
It's a cult. That's
This reminds me of that cult movie that we watched, Midsummer.
Oh my god.
That was like the creepiest movie ever.
That was. I watched a clip from it that I forgot what even happened in the
I don't. I remember that movie vividly.
You remember what happens to the elders
No.
near the end of the movie?
It was like bloody, gory, I remember.
Yeah, they jump off the cliff and land on
Yeah.
a rock.
Yeah, I do remember that.
They showed it
Yeah, I remember the blood.
They're
I remember
so
the blood.
bouncy off the rock. It was like a bad bouncy ball.
Oh my god. That was a good movie though, but it was definitely creepy.
If it didn't have the chick from Black Widow in it, I wouldn't have liked it as much as I did. But she's a good actor. I liked her. She's good. So, but yeah, no, it was like it was twisted. It was long. It was twisted.
Yeah.
I hate those movies. Why do we watch why do we watch that stuff?
I don't know. Top comment says, straight out of a horror movie, the erratically moving lights sounded like they were running.
Yeah.
They were running towards them.
Exactly. That's all I was thinking when they were thinking about shaking it. No, it's not shaking it. You're just running with the flashlight in your hand.
My first thought too, like they spotted them and were running after them, someone said.
Yeah.
Running after them is crazy.
Good thing you fucking ran. Jesus.
Holy fuck. It's okay, we're never camping in like...
No, but you make me watch these scary movies like The Haunting of Hill House and
You loved
whatnot.
it.
It's scary. Bringing me back to it is scary. Freaking bent neck lady.
I also wanted to watch the Midnight Mass with you.
No, I'm out.
That one's culty.
Bro, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, I don't think I can,
I'm watching
honestly.
any scary movies after this episode.
I think I'm good, actually. I'm all scared out for like the rest of this Halloween season.
All right, cool, good. All right, this has been a great episode, guys. I know it's short, only 1 hour long, but we'll catch you next week. No?
No.
No?
We gotta keep going.
Back to me. All right, so this one comes from Cops and Other Law Enforcement People of Reddit. What are some cases you worked on that makes you think, even if for a moment, that something supernatural / paranormal was going on? And one poster says, my brother is a deputy, and at the time, I worked as an EMT for a few small towns in northeast Colorado. I frequently went on ride-alongs with him while waiting for 911 calls to come in. This took place in Amherst, Colorado. The town is very small. Amherst has about 50 people, a church, some houses, a grain tower, and a park. It was about 3 a.m. and we were about to call it a night. As we were making our last check on Amherst, we noticed movement at the park, but couldn't tell exactly what was going on because it was pitch black. We drove up and stopped alongside the dirt road, flipped on the spotlight, and as we moved the light around the park, it finally settled on the back of a young girl, who was maybe like 13, sitting on a swing with her back facing us.
On.
We left the spotlight on her and she wasn't moving. She just sat there, facing away from us, looking down at the ground. Needless to say, it was a very creepy situation. We both looked at each other with that face you would make when something is out of the ordinary. I quickly suggested that we should call her over using the PA system. He agreed. As we looked back over, she was gone.
No.
I mean, no signs of anyone anywhere. The park was in a wide open area. She couldn't have gotten out of sight in that amount of time that we had exchanged our words. I remember saying, should we go and look for her? Maybe she hid behind one of the park toys or something. My brother just looked at me and said, hell to the no, and drove away. It still creeps me out to this day.
No, 100%. Like,
Bro.
even though there's a slight, like, very slight chance that this was an actual human being, an actual 13-year-old girl, fuck no. Like, my job doesn't matter that much. Sorry.
I am not getting out of my car at night. No, thank you.
3 a.m., a little girl on a swing. Like, kids are, like, even though kids are fearless most of the time, they're not, like, this fearless, where they're not scared to be in the middle of a field at 3 a.m. by themselves.
Yeah.
That's scary shit.
Scary. Does anybody else get, like a nice, safe feeling inside a vehicle? I've always felt like so attached to my cars, and I've always felt so safe. I close the door, I lock the door. I feel so safe on the inside. Like if it's winter time and the heat's coming in from the car, I feel safe. Like it could be like a whiteout blizzard out there. As long as my car is making heat on the inside, I feel safe.
I can see that.
It's like raining, it's pouring, its visibility is low out there, it's foggy. I get in my car, lock the door. I feel safe.
Yeah.
Even though it's like you're surrounded by glass and like the glass could break, it's hard to break the glass. So I get inside my little safe space inside my car. My car makes me feel like it's a safe space. Anybody get that? Like warm and little fuzzy feeling?
It kind of makes sense because you go from like the chaos of outside. Like what you're referring to is like when it's like stormy or there's like...
Yeah, it's like stormy, it's raining, it's snowing, it's foggy. I like run to my car, start my car, lock the door, put my seatbelt on, and then I feel safe.
Yeah, because you're going from like something crazy into something that's like
Yeah,
covered
or if it's just
in-
black, just pitch black out. Just like whenever
Mm.
I used to go work at the farm on the car, and like it's time to leave and it's pitch black, I'd like
Yeah.
move quickly to the car that I'm driving away from, lock the door, even though I'm in the middle of nowhere, no one's around me. I lock the door, and then I feel safe in pitch
Yeah,
blackness.
I could see that as well.
It's a safe space.
It is. Okay.
All right, back to you.
True EMS horror story. I worked as a dispatcher for a pretty small ambulance station near a fairly large city in the middle of the US. I don't know how specific I can be since this is a true story, and I'm going to tell one of the scariest stories I have to this job. We had a patient who we will call Susan. She was a dialysis patient, and one of the services we offered was to take very unwell and disabled patients to and from these dialysis appointments. She lived with her son, who we will call David. He was in his late 40s and his mother, Susan, in her late 70s or so. Every week, like clockwork, we would have a unit bring Susan to and from her dialysis treatments 3 times a week. Everyone knew her at the station because we had been doing this for quite some time for Susan. We were all familiar with her and her son, whether it was a crew seeing her in person and taking care of her, or speaking to her or her son on the phone frequently about the appointments as I had done. Everyone knew her. Naturally, when crews had news about her health, they would report back to keep everyone in the loop with how she was. At one point, she was not feeling well at all, but she wanted to go to her dialysis appointment, so naturally we obliged and took her in. At this appointment, while receiving dialysis treatment, she lost consciousness and she was promptly taken by our crew to the hospital. When it was that time again for her dialysis appointment, we gave the hospital a call to see if she had been released and was able to go to the appointment. The hospital staff informed us that she would likely be released the following day and would be receiving that dialysis treatment in the hospital. Then the next treatment time rolled around and we called the hospital and we were told she had been released from their care the other day. This was great news, but a little strange due to the fact that we were always her first call to transport her to and from the hospital or appointment, and we hadn't transported her anywhere. We quickly moved on, however, called David, her son, to see if she was going to be requiring us for her treatment that day. He informed us that she wasn't feeling well and that she wasn't up for it, but that he was considering taking her back to the hospital. We tell him that if he needs us to just give us a call, and until further notice, we'll cancel her trip for the day. We never get a call. Next appointment rolls around and we call David again to ask if she will be going. He says she's sick and she's back in the hospital. Weird again since we hadn't taken her, but it doesn't seem that off considering her health had been deteriorating. Her next appointment, same thing happens. We call David, his mom's in the hospital, we move on. Now is where things took a bit of a turn. When the next appointment came up, we had tried calling David to ask about his mother's status, but he never answered or returned our calls. So, being that we had a contract with Susan and we were to take her to these appointments unless told otherwise, we sent a crew to collect her for treatment. When the crew arrived at the scene, they knocked on the door to no response. They knocked again and were greeted by David smoking a cigarette. David seemed surprised. The crew said they were to pick up Susan for her appointment. David responded stating he had forgotten to call, but Susan was still in the hospital not doing well. The crew gave their best wishes and David shut the door, but the crew felt like something was off. They immediately radioed the dispatch that something was wrong and they requested we call the hospital David said she was at to see if she was still there. The hospital had no record of her being there since we last knew. So we had the crew leave the scene and we called for a welfare check on Susan at her son's home. We heard nothing the rest of the day from the police, David, Susan, or anyone involved. The next morning, I came into work and the very first call I took began with, "This is Sheriff blank with blank. I'm calling to report back on the welfare check you asked us to perform yesterday." I was nervous as he sounded concerned and I didn't really expect them to call us back with any news. He proceeded to let me know that upon arrival to the home, they spoke with David, who was adamant his mother didn't feel well, but that she was home from the hospital. The police asked to just check on Susan to make sure she was all right, and eventually David obliged, letting the police in. Once entering the home, they were met with a grim scene, though I imagine they smelled it first. They continued to explain that what the officers observed was the dead body of Susan propped up on the couch wrapped in blankets, as if she was watching the television, but she had been dead for a while. They approximated around 2 weeks. When speaking to David, they found out that he had been changing her clothes regularly and watching TV with her. Obviously, he was suffering from some sort of mental issue and grief, but the thing was, he had never taken good care of her until she was dead. No news coverage, no updates from police further than that, nothing. Stuff like this happens in your hometown and you'll never know. Crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so creepy.
That's scary.
Sad.
Yeah.
Top comment just says, "This is crazy AF. Interesting story." I wouldn't be able to work in that field at all.
Reminds me of that sandwich eating glass story that
Oh my
I
God.
brought up, and then I showed you the video. That was only one of the episodes too. I put it at the
Yeah.
end of the episode or something,
Yeah.
where she keeps bringing him a sandwich. I think it's called The Sandwich or something.
Yeah, that
A
was
short horror
kinda
film.
creepy, yeah.
It's great. Look it up if you haven't seen it. You know, it's kind of similar ending, but I won't spoil it more than that. All right, last one for me.
Okay.
Breathe.
I'm scared.
Breathe.
My body is like in fight or flight right now.
Yeah, I'm tense. Why do we do this?
Literally, why do we keep doing this?
I know why.
Oh,
You
you scared.
You is why. You're why. You're the reason.
me.
Somebody commented one time and said, you guys should do a spooky episode. And she says, gobbled that up. She's like, yeah, we should. All right. This one is titled Eerie Towns, Disappearing Diners and Creepy Gas Stations. What's your true, unexplained story of being in a place that shouldn't exist? And someone commented and said, when my brother and I were 10 and 12 respectively, our family went on a hike through the cemetery and into the woods not far from our house. My brothers and I would explore these woods every day, even camped in them before. We knew it like the back of our hands. Anyway, as the family hits our usual spot by the creek halfway through, Brother One and I said we'd be back in a few as we wanted to wander off further up the creek. We came across a very large hill we had never seen before. It was littered with what looked like someone's worldly possessions, as if they'd turned a house upside down and shook out the contents, took the house and left. There were tons of painted X's on the trees showing someone intended to cut them down at some point. We poked around for a few and then we thought we heard our mom hollering at us, so we turned tail and walked maybe like 20 feet back down the hill to where our parents were. The entire encounter was maybe 45 minutes long on our end. As soon as our mom saw us, we got the beating of a lifetime. We had actually been gone 4 hours.
Oh my God.
She never saw us walk up any hill and remembered seeing us meandering down the straight path by the creek, not turning up a hill that was 20 feet away. She and her husband and our other brother combed the woods for 4 hours screaming our names
Oh my
and
God.
couldn't find any tale of us. We pleaded our case and even tried showing her the hill. Surely she was messing with us. So we stomped to the turn off for the hill and it was gone. Nowhere to be seen. For years, we explored the woods determined to find that fucking hill. We covered miles and miles of off-path woods. As we got older, we mapped it out. To this day, that hill does not exist. We never found it again. Never found the weird furniture, toys, clothes, and other household items that were scattered across the hill, and never met anyone in the area that had a clue about the hill. We probably just wandered way farther than we meant to, but I always found it weird that we never found the hill again.
That one was perfect for Glitch in the Matrix.
That was great. That was creepy. That was scary.
Yeah, but also like it seems like a glitch. But definitely creepy still.
Yeah.
See, this is also like again similar to last week's stories. Like there's 2 of them. There's no way 2 of them can just like think that you're gone for 45 minutes, but it's actually 4 hours.
Yeah, right? Time paradox?
There's no way. There's no way.
Slipping through universes, slipping through time.
Like I know they were both young, 10 and 12, I think they said. So
Yeah.
but still, like it to me, it's just like you're there with some other person. You both went up this hill. You both like saw this random stuff. Like, I don't know. When there's 2 people involved, it makes it truer.
Yeah, right?
Crazy.
All right. Over to you.
Okay. I'm going to do an Ask Reddit. What was the creepiest or most paranormal thing that's ever happened to you? This one says, I am from the Indian town of Bhubaneswar. I had never quite believed in supernatural or anything outside of the purview of science. This creepy incident happened the time my grandmother died. Being a traditional family, we performed numerous rituals for her so-called heavenly abode to be pleasant. Most of these rituals don't make sense to me, nor do they now, but I decided against questioning as the timing was gloomy and everyone was mourning. One of these rituals was a preservation of light inside a closed container. As part of the ritual, her kids, which included my father, are supposed to make a journey taking her corpse from Bhubaneswar to the holy city of Puri, around 50 kilometers, where the Jagannath temple resides, and her sons are supposed to burn her there, perform the puja, and set the ashes on its path to the Bay of Bengal. Meanwhile, there will be a container placed in our home in her room where she used to live, which will be filled with sand up to a certain level, and a lighted earthen lamp is supposed to be put, and the whole container will be covered completely, and the room is locked from the outside for no one to enter the room till the sons arrive back to home and then unlock the room. Apparently, there are supposed to be shapes formed on the sand which will lead the path that she will take to the heaven. I was also told that when my grandfather dies, the shape formed was that of the ladder, which was interpreted as him going to heaven in a ladder or steps. I, of course, thought this was pure idiocy and didn't believe it. Cut to when my father and his brothers returned from the holy city of Puri, and the room was unlocked and the container was opened after that, and what I saw surprised and creeped me out. I could clearly see wheel shapes being formed on all sides of the earthen lamp, called deep in my language. The wheel shapes were not barely visible. I even took a photo. They were clearly visible. And here is the picture. Who did that?
Literally.
Now, who did that?
Oh my gosh.
It still creeps me out how that is possible.
That is creepy.
Edit, it was interpreted that she is going to heaven in a chariot. It kind of does look like a chariot.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Oh my gosh. All right. I've got one more actually.
Okay.
So on this one's from creepiest, most paranormal thing that's happened to you. Someone says, a lady's voice coming from my closet asking for help. My closet door was cracked and she said, help me. I see you through the cracks.
No.
Every synonym for the word scared was coursing through my body. I went and checked to see if there was a woman in need of help, but nothing was in there but my clothes and shoes. And somebody replies and says, people that go and check that shit out are different kinds of people.
No,
You
actually,
crazy motherfuckers.
You are a crazy motherfucker. I could never be me. I'm running 50,000 kilometers in the other direction.
So another person replies and says, I was miles deep into the middle of the desert driving a dune buggy with friends and stopped to check out an abandoned mine that my buddy and I had explored in before. My buddy stayed behind while the girls and I went inside to look around. About 100 yards into the mine, I hear a man's voice call out that says, help me, please.
Fuck that.
Along with strange whimpering noises. We all froze and stared at each other wide-eyed for a few seconds before the voice called out again and the girls took off running for the exit. I wanted to run too, but something was telling me it was my buddy playing a prank on us and I didn't want to fall for it. Convinced he was calling down from some sort of hole above, I called back and followed the voice, hoping for a triumphance over his little joke. Instead, I found an old man and his injured dog trapped deep down a 30-foot drop. I saved both their lives.
That wasn't paranormal.
Somebody replied and said, holy shit, motherfucker. Haven't you ever seen a goddamn horror movie? You never investigate that kind of creepy shit. You run your goddamn ass off, LOL.
No, but thank God he did.
Yeah, and so he gives it an edit, and he says, this is a true story. It happened about 7 years ago. The house was on the Colorado River, part of a gated community type of thing. We were in the Cali Desert. The old man found our house hours later because of our description and the buggy parked out front. He spent some time with us explaining his life story and describing his large family. He was, and hopefully still is, a retired man living with his wife and dog in one of the neighboring communities and went out to adventure without telling his wife. No one even knew he was out there. He was really concerned with eventually telling his wife what really happened for obvious reasons. The dog broke a couple of legs on the fall, and he unsuccessfully attempted to rescue him, hence being trapped in a hole. I'm certainly no hero, just fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time to help someone desperately in need. I'll post a picture of the man and the dog in the morning as I'm preparing for football kickoff.
I actually don't want to see. Like, when it comes to animals, I don't like to be sad about them.
I would like to remind you that at the end of the thing, he says, instead, I found an old man and his injured dog trapped deep down a 30-foot drop. I saved both their lives.
Yes, but the dog had broken legs.
This is the man and the dog.
Okay.
The dog looks fine.
Yeah, it does. How is that creepy or paranormal?
It was in the what's the creepiest and most paranormal thing that's ever happened to you? I wanted to leave off on a better note. The guy thought it was a paranormal thing and he rescued a guy and his dog. That's a heartwarming fucking story.
It actually made me sad more than anything.
That's good.
I don't want to know about any dogs breaking their legs.
Yeah, well, he was saved. He was a saved dog.
Well, he was hurt.
He was saved.
Place,
yeah,
so
well, he got saved. So therefore, we're ending on a happy note. And
not me.
I can sleep tonight. I can sleep tonight now.
All right, time to watch Love Island.
I'm glad we're not filming at like 12 o'clock at night.
No, I know. We actually tricked you guys. It looks dark in here, but it's not. It's daytime.
We closed all the blinds.
It's currently, I think we started filming at like 5 p.m. Yeah. It's now like 7:40.
It's great. It's great.
That
was great.
That was...
I love doing these stories. I don't have...
No.
My hair isn't standing up on edge. I don't have goosebumps all over my body.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
I'm not freaking freezing. Nope. It's great. It's great.
Hope it was worth it. Hopefully...
I feel great.
You guys can sleep tonight, and this is all you wanted.
I'm glad that we don't have to do spooky stories for another year.
One more year. No, we do. We have Patreon. And that brings us to our promotion of Patreon.
Catch more spooky stories on Friday if you come join our Patreon. There's also like 70 plus other Patreon episodes. If you ran out episodes you want to binge, you want to support us, we appreciate that. Come check us out on Patreon. There's just a whole library on there of like the best stories of Reddit.
Last week we had another Glitch in the Matrix episode.
Yep, be spooky.
This week will be spooky.
We'll promote it next week, but next week will be extra Halloween episode.
So if this is your favorite month, like me,
it's a good time to come to Patreon.
Yes.
And with that,
we bid you farewell.
Yep, do your thing. Smash the like button on YouTube if you made it this far. Drop a comment on Spotify if you're saying that I made it all the way to the end. And I love you. And
wow.
Thank you.
Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
What are we waiting for?
Do you hear that?
Boo.
No, do you hear that?
Ambient noise?
It sounded like someone singing. I'm not even fucking with you.
We're in an RV campground. There's probably lots of people singing around us.